Hi, it's Lipstick Gal. Thank you so much for watching today. I wanted to rank all of the eyeshadow palettes I bought this year. I think I have them all here, and I bought 34. Some of these you might notice if you've been watching my declutter series. Some of these have landed in my declutter pile. I pulled them out for this because they were products that I did purchase this year, and I wanted to make sure before I started giving them out to family and friends or finding new homes for them that I had them here to show them to you, to describe why they are where they are in this whole ranking of things. So thank you so much for watching, and let's jump into it. I love eyeshadow. I've always loved eyeshadow, and I think the fact that I bought 34 eyeshadow palettes really attests to that this year. A lot of these I bought because they were exciting to me in one form or another. I don't think I bought a single one of these knowing that I wasn't going to like it or that it was only going to be so-so. My goal in purchasing all of these was genuine makeup excitement. All right, so we're going to start at number 34 and we're going to work our way to number 1. The first one is not one that I purposefully chose on my own. It came to me in a Beautylish Lucky bag, and it's from Tom Ford. I feel really bad about this. This Tom Ford is the Eye Quad in Badass. This is what she looks like. And there's a lot of sparkle fallout. You can see all the sparkles all around these pans. The only shades I used regularly were these lighter 2 ones here. I feel like there wasn't enough distinction in this kind of aubergine eggplant shade. It has a black base to it, and when I put it on and started blending it out, it looked black. I never used it wet. I know that this is a wet dry formula. I usually don't use sparkly black shades like this. So this palette, it's not that it's bad, it's just not engineered for the way I use makeup and my color preferences. But I'll tell you, trying this one, even though it comes in this little velvet pouch, which to me is extra and whatever, I keep it in there because that's how it came. But the truth is, it got put back in its little warm and cozy sock, and I really didn't pull it out after the first 2 times trying it. It's lived in a drawer. It definitely got in my declutter pile. This is number 34, the worst thing I tried this year. Number 33 is a drugstore fave of a lot of people, and it's this little color icon here from Wet n Wild. This is the shade Camo Flaunt. That's what this colorway is. And I'll just tell you, for me, I found the powders in here to be a little more powdery. They weren't as saturated. I feel like e.l.f. does a better drugstore affordable like formula. I really don't care for this formula, and I hated the fact that this one came with a pressed glitter. Really, really didn't like it. This ranks at number 32. Again, I just did not like the Wet n Wild formula. This is Nude Awakening. I love that they came out with 10-pan palettes. I love that they're affordable, that they're a drugstore price. I just didn't love the formula. I know so many people really liked this new formula from Wet n Wild. I just wasn't impressed, and I have so many other things that I like better. Is it bad? No. Did it impress me? No. That's why it's at number 32. The next 2 come from the same brand. And I feel like they're definitely a step up from the Wet n Wild, but I really didn't reach for them past my initial excitement. ColourPop came out with these 5-pan palettes. I love a limited color story. I love a smaller eyeshadow palette, and I was excited that ColourPop was coming out with these. So these were launched, I think, when was it? January or February, and this is the Amour. I think the reason that I didn't like these, first of all, this one has a pressed glitter in it. I can't stand a pressed glitter. I mean, I do wear them, but maybe 2 or 3 times a year, and then I'm crossing my fingers and hoping none of it gets stuck on my eyeball. I don't like that ColourPop for so long, until just recently, has been putting a pressed glitter all the time. To me, it's a wasted space. I don't like it. I didn't use it. And I felt that this color here was difficult to blend. Coming in at number 30 for me was another one of these palettes from Matte Release. They released 5 of these. This one here is the Lyric palette. And I think the reason I had trouble blending this color here, and again, it has that glitter. Ugh, no thank you. So these are really low on the totem pole. I'm losing track of where I am. I'm just gonna start popping a number up here and I'll let you know what number we're on. So the next one is this. This is the last one that I would say is in my official bad bin. These are all of, from this and all the ones previously are the ones that I just struggle to reach for. Some have been decluttered, some should have been decluttered. I still held on to this for this year because I'm trying to love it. This is the Monochromes from Glossier. This is the shade Prairie. I wanted to love this. First of all, we've got 3 finishes and they're all the same shade. I love that, a metallic, a satin, and a matte. I could not get this matte to blend for me to save my life. And I didn't feel that there was enough of a difference between the satin and the metallic that I really noticed it on my eye. The other thing is, I'm gonna admit right now, I'm a lazy gal. I don't like wearing eyeshadow primer. It's one of those steps that if I have to like eschew a step here and there, I don't wear face primer, I don't wear eyeshadow primer on the regular, only if I feel like I need to. This is one where you need to. And I don't know whether it's just the shade Prairie, but I was so unimpressed with this. I didn't want to try any of the other colorways from Glossier. I love the packaging. I love everything about this. I love that it's minimal. It's a trio, and I even love the color. This was the color I was the most excited about. But the way that these blended, they did not last well. They creased on my unprimed eye. They did better on a primed eye, but I don't want to have to work that hard. To me, the whole idea of this palette and Glossier in general is easy to use, no fuss makeup. There was so much fuss involved in getting this to look good and to stay on the eye all day and not settle into my crease and not fade. I don't want to have to work that hard. That's why this formula was not for me. Those first 6 there are the ones that for me are officially the bad ones, the ones that I really, really didn't enjoy and that to me were like epic fails for the year. Now these next ones here, I have another little bin here and these are ones that I actually enjoyed using, ones that I think are good, but they're not my faves, not the ones that I habitually reach for again and again. All right, so my next one here is this one right here from Nabla. This is the Cutie palette, the Metropolitan. I like that it has a mirror in it. It's got some nice fun shades. I really like this. This has, you may notice, it has like some sparkle all throughout because these flaky shades down here, especially this gold shade, super flaky. So you'll see gold flakes here, all through the other ones. This white one is also flaky. They're really pretty. And I spent most of the year wanting to love this because these colors are fun, especially like this shade here and this shade here. I especially liked this kind of duochromy flaky white shade, but I didn't like that these flakes landed all over my face. It wasn't until I discovered this Pat McGrath Intensifies Artistry wand that I was able to successfully use the shades in here. So I like it and I'm definitely gonna start using it more in 2022. But for me, the problem was these flaky shades ended up like down here in my lipstick on my blouse and I didn't know how to handle that. And nothing I had at the time, a regular eye primer, was holding them in place long enough. It held them in place for a while and then I was dealing with fallout. But I am getting super successful looks now after using that Pat McGrath eye primer. We're back to ColourPop. I really wanted to love these 5-pan palettes and this one actually I enjoyed, but I just found that I wasn't reaching for it. This one here is in Cherish. I really don't care for shades that are basically a matte with sparkle in it. Either be a matte or be a metallic. Don't try and do both because I find that this finish right here ends up being the one that I end up with sparkle fallout below my eyes. Now again, remember, I don't prime at all. I just want the eyeshadow formula to be good enough to stay where I put it. And maybe that's an unrealistic expectation, but this one was okay. I just, after my initial like, oh, fun, I like these, I didn't really love it enough to keep using it. This one here is in Crush. I feel like this is not bad, but I feel like the Pumpkin Pie from e.l.f., that little duo with 4 shades, is less expensive and better formulation than this, and it gives you a very similar vibe. So if you like this, and you just go to the drugstore and pick up the e.l.f. one in Pumpkin Pie, you're gonna get the same sort of feeling, and it won't cost you the $10 that these did. The one out of all 5 of those that I bought at the beginning of the year, the one that I liked the most and that I used the most is this one here in Ballad. I have this year fallen in love with cool tone eyeshadows. I will tell you, I didn't use this shade here. I used these 4, and I used them all the time. I really liked it. I wore it a ton in that first, I don't know, maybe 2 months that I had it. And then it just kind of got forgotten. I don't know why I forgot it. It's actually not a bad palette, but as I was going through my eyeshadow collection and decluttering this year, it wasn't one that I loved enough to keep. I picked up a couple of palettes from Essence This one here is their I Like to Mauve It palette. And this is really affordable, super affordable. If you are just dipping your toe into eyeshadow and you want to try like, you know, some mauve-y, lavendery colors, but you don't want to spend a lot, this is a great way to do it. This is a great palette. I did find that the kind of lavendery purple shades in here were not as intense as I wanted them to be, but they're not bad. You can build them up. You can definitely make it work. I would definitely say it's a good palette, but it's not one that I reach for all the time. So this next one kind of surprised me. It's a face palette, but it's mostly eyeshadows. And it came in the Estee Lauder Blockbuster for 2021. This is their Candy Glam palette. And if you're looking at it, I think that this is actually a really nice palette. I really like the shades in here, and I have used a lot of the more neutral toned ones a lot. I've used everything except for that navy blue. I'm just gonna tell you, blue kind of intimidates me, and I'm like, I don't know. So the great thing about this, and I feel like this formula is better than the last time I tried the Estee Lauder eyeshadow formula in one of their gifts or holiday blockbusters, is that the formula is beautiful. The older I get, the more texture I have on my eyelids, and I have to be careful what I put there. And I'll tell you, they are metallic, they are pretty, but they have a subtle shimmer to them that doesn't draw attention to the added texture that my lids have. So these actually I have been reaching for and have been loving these shades, but it's mainly because the finish works so well. As I get older, I am looking for a little bit more for my eyeshadows. This guy's next. I actually love this palette. I think it's really great. It's not my fave of the year, but I really enjoyed it. So this is the Nobly Cutie palette in Platinum. And I told you, I really have had a love affair with cooler tones, and look at these shades. Love. Look at these silvers. This right here is amazing. So once I got that Pat McGrath artistry pen, I started wearing this a lot. I was using kind of this bronzy shade here, Taupe shade, all over as a single shadow look. Sometimes I would use just these two together. I really like this palette. I hope to use it more in the new year, but this one has been fun. Like this one a lot. So this one is another one that I didn't specifically purchase for myself, go out, choose it, and spend money in. It came in a Beautylish Lucky Bag, and it's a face and eye palette from Charlotte Tilbury. It's one of her Instant Look in a palette. This is the Gorgeous Glowing Beauty. All right, super easy to use. I get a gorgeous look, like literally gorgeous glowing. Yes, I get all of that every single time that I use this palette. I like it a lot. It's really well suited to my skin tone. The bronzer and the blush shades and the highlight work especially well for me, but you don't have a lot of excitement going on down here. The one thing I will say is that Charlotte Tilbury has a really beautiful eyeshadow formula. I like that this is one of those that if I'm trying to get ready quickly as my husband's driving to an event and I'm like, I need a little color in my face, I can pull this off and like quickly apply it while I'm in the car or sit in the parking lot for like 3 minutes and get like a nice look pulled together. This is a great product to have, but it didn't really become like my go-to. I did end up really liking this second one from Estee Lauder from that holiday blockbuster. This is the one here in Candy Glow. So I do like that it comes with their Bronze Goddess bronzer, but the shades in here, because I love a warm neutral, these have been the ones that I have been reaching for just a little bit more than the cooler toned one. So they're pretty, they've got a nice subtle shine to them. This is just a portion of the ones in here, and they're really well suited to my skin tone. I was just a hair disappointed that there wasn't, between both palettes, they both lean a little light. I feel like you could have had a little bit more dimension and option for people who aren't as fair as me. I feel like that was an opportunity that was missed by Estee Lauder, but I do like this palette, and I do use it a lot. This is a palette that I picked up, I think in February, maybe early March. It's from Revlon. They released these new quads at the drugstore, and I really like this one. I especially fell in love with this shade here. This, by the way, is the colorway Slight Flex. This duochrome shade here, it's not like the most duochromy of duochromes. It's not the most shifty of shades. But for a drugstore shade, I was pretty impressed. I also think the copper and the blue in here are nice. And you can get a really pretty, fun metallic look. This shade here was a little bit of a disappointment to me because it's very similar to my skin tone. It really didn't show up. But 3 of the shades in here are nice, but this one is particularly interesting. I had a lot of fun playing with this one this year. Oh, Essence. These little palettes were a super surprise for me. I would say I really think they're great, and this one I think is particularly nice if you tend to prefer cooler shades, but I'm going to tell you it is very much for someone with a lighter skin tone. I don't know that these kind of cooler grayish shades would look good on somebody with a richer skin tone. I think it might make you look ashy. I don't know. That's just my perspective on this, but I really like this and I use this one a lot. I was so glad when I was going through my eyeshadows and doing my declutter series this year, I forgot that I had got this and I have been enjoying using it again. It's from Odin's Eye. This is the Alva eyeshadow palette. This is right on the edge of too many shades for me. I prefer, you know, more petite palettes, fewer number of shades. That's just how I do best, but everything in here is so fun. The metallics are absolutely insane. They are just gorgeous. They are just so beautiful. If you tend to like yellow shades, these are actually really nice. This shade here in Sunflower, I mean, like they're super pigmented and they build up really nicely on the eye. These are really, really great. One of my favorite shades is this one down here. I have stuck my finger in it so much, I don't know if I'm gonna get much of it up anymore. It's a really fun kind of shifty metallic-y shade. I think they're super pretty. I just love the way that these shadows look on the eye. I definitely am going to leave this on my tabletop because it's a good one and I want to play with it some more. We're past the bad bin. We're past that these were good. We're into the ones I actually loved. These are the ones I really enjoyed, and it was really hard for me to kind of put these in order at this point because they were good and it was basically down to small minor nuances. So the first one I want to share with you is not a new palette. It's been out for a while. It's from BH Cosmetics. This is the only eyeshadow palette I've tried. This is Beautiful in Barcelona. She's so beautiful. It's affordable. First of all, it's affordable and the quality is astounding. I love that. Again, it has a few more shades that I'm comfortable with, but if you're looking at it, you get a lot of nice, you know, cooler tones. You have the blues, and then you have those nice warm tones. It really does remind me of that like Mediterranean, some of the warm colors that they do in their tiles. I really love this palette. I will tell you, I have been using some of these shades so much. They are just stunning. Look at that. Yes. So this is a really good one. I want to know if BH Cosmetics is this good all the time, because I think I paid less than $10 for this. I got it when it was on sale at Ulta, and I have really enjoyed using it. I fell in love in 2020 with the Viseart Petit-Four palettes. Those little 4-pan palettes, I have 2 of the original 4 they launched. Love them with my whole heart. And then I decided I wanted to try more Viseart. I had some from before, they were okay, they didn't blow my socks off, but then those Petit-Fours blew my socks off, and during their spring sale, I picked this one up here. This one is Midsummer. Oh my goodness. I have used this so much, and this shade right here, like, I don't know how there's anything left because I keep sticking my finger in this pan to finish off the look. It's a gorgeous duochrome. It's so pretty. So again, we do have a matte here that has some sparkle in it. Not one of my favorites. I don't use that one that often, but I do use everything right along in here. And the ones on either end, they're just gorgeous. I feel like this one is nice if you like kind of cooler, rosy tones. This one is great. The formula is amazing. Love, love, love. So I did pick up all of their holiday Petit-Fours this year, and this was the one I was the most excited about, but I feel like I have been using the least. I'm not saying it's not good, because remember, I love all of these. Love, love, love. But this is the one that I have been reaching for the least. This is the Garnet palette. It does have only one matte in here, and it's that really creamy shade right here. It's kind of a cream peach shade, but everything else is metallic. I have been doing one shadow looks with both of these shades here. One shadow looks with this, and one shadow looks with this. I love the how tiny and compact they are. I like the packaging. I like that it really doesn't have a mirror, because it would be a little itty bitty baby mirror, but I like that it's just minimal everything, but gorgeous formula. It's been a long time since I bought anything from Pat McGrath, but I did get a quad this year. This is the quad that was released with the blush collection, the Divine Blush collection. This is Venus and Floor, and I absolutely love it. I love this shade here. This is a super gorgeous metallic shade right here. But this shade, duochrome shiftiness. It has a pinky peach with some gold in there. Depending on where it hits the light, you can see a very different, I love these. The matte in here is nice. This other metallic is nice, but I finally started using this like a lot more once I got that Artistry Eye Wand from Pat McGrath. It makes this kind of metallic-y duochrome shade here stay exactly where I put it, and I feel like all of a sudden I had options. So I do really enjoy this. I'm just planning on using it more. Here's another Viseart palette that I picked up during their sale. This one here is the Paris Love Letter. Okay, this is perfect if you have fair skin and you love peachy tones. Also if you like pastels, because the pastels in here are the ones that really make it special. Like you got a peach tone here, this green and this more kind of lilac-y color. They're just beautiful. The formulation is amazing. I do like this. I tend to wear it more in spring, and I was sure that I wasn't going to use this lilac or kind of like this pistachio green shade here, but the truth is they bring that vibrancy and the fun, and the formulation is amazing. All right, this is another kind of peachy toned palette from Viseart. This one here is the Solstice palette, and this is everything that my warm neutral heart wants. When I want an easy look, I reach for this. And the thing that kind of makes this different than the other ones is that it has this duochrome shade right here. It looks pink in the pan, but it ends up kind of being a peachy pink. It looks a little bit pinker in the pan, then here you're getting more of that goldy peach sheen to it. It's so much fun. I love the way that this looks on my eyes. I feel like this one and the Midsummer that have the duochromes on the end are just so much fun. I wish that there were more duochrome shades in Viseart palettes. I don't have that many of them, but the mattes in here blend like a dream. The metallics are fantastic. And the reason that I really love Viseart is the lazy gal in me cannot like make the time or energy to put on a eye primer. You don't have to with these. All right, more Viseart. I love this one. This is one of their new Petit-Fours. This one's in Peridot. I get the most gorgeous green eye look, and this is like right on the verge of too much intense color for me, but I have been loving it, especially this kind of limey green shade here. Like all the shades in here, but these two greens are just beautiful. These guys are previous swatches. My fingers are getting a little shiny, a little bit dirty, but this one is fun. I have been wearing it quite a bit. It's still kind of new to my collection, but I know I like the Petit-Fours. I know that this color story is definitely something that I'm going to be reaching for, and I have a soft spot for green eyeshadow. Now, the one that kind of surprised me was I have been using this one even more than I've been using the green one. This one is in Lapis. Oh, so beautiful, so beautiful. Okay, I'm just going to be honest, the blue scares me. I have been using it, but not as much as everything else. Most days I reach for the other three shades and skip the blue, but I have worn it intensely like this. I mean, like, check that out. That is wild. But this silver here, I feel like it reads just a hair blue, but if I wash this lightly all over the lid where it's just like the barest little hint and then blend it out, it looks ethereal and absolutely gorgeous. Like all of these shades here, they're just so good. I'm like, delish. I love these. Absolutely love these. Oh guys, we're at the point where it's like almost all Viseart. So this is the Paris Edit. This has been a really great palette. I picked this one up during the spring sale. I have used it a lot. If you like cooler rosy tones, kind of mauve tones, this one's going to be for you. You do have some depth with this charcoaly color here and this more burgundy tone here. I think what I like most about this is you have so many options. Of course, there's 12 pans in here, love that. But these center two columns here tend to be very peachy. And it's these outside two that give you more of that kind of dusty, deep look. If you use these guys here, you get a very decidedly rosy tone. If you use these guys out over here, it gets to be a little bit more of a smoky look. But if you use the two columns in the middle, it's very peachy and very metallic. And the finishes on these, oh my goodness, they are absolutely beautiful. I love the Viseart formula. If you want a, it's a small palette, it's not big, it doesn't take up a lot of room, but you like both warm and cool, this one's fun, but it tends to lean just a little more decidedly mauve-y. So I've been in love with this brand for a long time. It's not going to be a surprise when figure out what brand it is, but I really feel like, I don't know why I waited this long to try their eyeshadow formula. Part of it was I wasn't sure that I needed more eyeshadow, and part of it was the colors they offered. But when they offered this as a new offering this year, I was like, yes, And this is the Divine Skies from M Cosmetics. This is in their Venetian Rose. All right, so if you love a pinky eye, this is what you want. The shades in here are so beautiful. The metallics, I love the formulation from M Cosmetics, but it's not just how beautiful and shiny these guys are. The mattes in here, like they almost blend themselves. I don't know what magic is in this. I also love that you're only getting 6 shades. I like that it's small and compact. Even the mirror in here is big enough for me to do my eye look with. I can see everything I need to see. I love everything about this. The pattern on the front, I know exactly because I have more than one of these eyeshadow palettes. I know which one I'm reaching for because of the fact that the packaging matches the inside. I love everything about this. One of my most used, most favorite palettes of the year. I'm surprised I don't have more from this brand this year. I told myself, you have so much, you don't need any more. But when Sydney Grace had their Christmas in July sale, your girl picked this up. This was a freebie on one of their days. We know with a minimum purchase, I don't remember what the minimum amount was, they would give you one of their new Coffee Talk palettes. So this eyeshadow palette comes in 2 different colors. This is the light version. Their deep version actually has deeper shades than these guys right here. A lot of the shades will be the same, but they will make sure that for people who have a richer skin tone, they give them their transition shades, their highlight shades that are appropriate to their skin tone. What, we're including everyone these days? That's what I love so much about Sydney Grace, is that they have several palettes that come in light and that come in deep. Since your girl is fair, she picked up the light one, but I love that there's an option for everybody. So everybody gets to play in the Sydney Grace sandbox, and I love that inclusivity. But this here is amazing. I love that this tends to lean just a little bit deeper. I did get a more neutral toned palette. I mean, look at this. Look at the shine. These are just crazy beautiful. The one that I got last year, which was their Summer Days palette, is a little bit more rosy and warm. This one definitely has more of those neutral and kind of cool neutrals in here, which I really have been enjoying because I have been loving cooler looks. Love this, love the packaging, love the formula, love, love, love. Okay, I'm gonna admit I haven't had this one for that long. It's basically brand new in my collection. It's what I'm wearing on my eyes today, but I knew instantly it was going to be a favorite. It shot straight to the top of my list. It's Busy Arts Cashmere palette. I love this palette. Love, love, love. So you're getting 12 colors in here. You're getting a mix of kind of rosy plumish shades. This half of the palette over here, these 2 columns right here, are like their re-envisioning of their original Theory cashmere palette. I never got the cashmere palette, but it had kind of like this, you know, darker, almost charcoaly brown shade. It had kind of like a warm brown. It had some of these more beigey nudes. And then on the other side, they throw in more of these rosy mauve tones. Oh my goodness, so beautiful. And I love, today I'm wearing this half of the palette. The first time I tried it, I was wearing this half of the palette. And the shades in here are absolutely gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. I love this shade. I wear this one all the time. I was wearing it as a single shadow look the other day. It's super easy. They blend themselves. I have fallen in love with Viseart as a brand because their quality is so good. I like that their packaging is compact. I like how easy it is to use, and it's kind of like one of my new defaults, the things that I go to. Let's move on to another brand we haven't talked about yet. Goss. Okay. I liked his original Imperial Topaz. I have it. She's a fave. We use her, but I'm kind of over warm neutrals. I'm not gonna say that I don't like warm neutrals anymore because I still do love a warm neutral, but I like a slightly more neutral or cooler tone. And so I have been reaching more for these palettes, and I couldn't decide. I got 2 this year. I couldn't decide where to put them, but they're right there at the very tippy top. This one right here is the Tourmaline palette. Oh, so gorgeous. I have used this so much since I got it. And this is kind of the palette that kind of pushed me over the edge to want to try more berry and burgundy toned eyeshadows. These are not as intensely metallic as the others, but do you see the shine on these? That subtle glossy, oh, they're beautiful. This is the Taupe shade, but I love that these shades here, although they are shiny, they blend beautifully on the eye. They don't call attention to any texture I have on the lids. This is one of the most elegant formulas if you are not 22. If you are worried about bringing out some of that texture in your eyelids, I cannot say enough good about Wayne's formula. I'm not currently employed, but when I was working full-time at an office, there was office makeup and there was fun makeup. And I feel like even though these are kind of some richer plummy shades here, this would be so office appropriate. This is kind of like elegant lady who knows what she's doing look. I love, love, love tourmaline. Oh, it's one of my favorites of the year. Okay, so this one really surprised me. It's fairly new to my collection, but I have fallen in love with it, and I never thought I would be wearing this as much as I am. It's another Viseart quad. This is the Petit Four in Bullion. And now the gold all makes sense to me. I love a gold eyeshadow, and all of these make sense to me. The reason I said I didn't think I'd be using it as much is this black. And I never wear just the gold. I always pull in the black, and I am afraid of black eyeshadow. I am more afraid of black eyeshadow than I am of blue eyeshadow. Those two are like the top of my list of like intimidating colors. And I know so many people love blacks. This is a gorgeous black. There's sparkles on my finger because I've been swatching all the sparkly shades. But this is a beautiful matte black. It's very, very pigmented. But the thing that I love about this is it's not so pigmented that once you like dip your brush in, you place it where you want it. Sometimes some just stick and then they don't budge. And then the intensity of which you put it down with, you can't blend it out. This one blends beautifully, because if I start to just kind of like bring it down, you'll see that it blends so nicely. You can get a really light wash shade of this. It can be more charcoal in nature. It can be really intense, but I have been using this more than I thought I ever would, because black shadow and me, we just don't ever mix. My favorite thing to do is to put one of the metallics over the black. I've been wearing it left, right, center all the time, and I've had so many people commenting like, wow, you're wearing a really intense eye look today. And I'm a fair girl, so the black really does show up, but I have been loving this, unable to stop wearing this. I know they're limited edition. I kind of wish they weren't. I don't know how long they're gonna hang around, but if you like golden shadows, these are for you. Okay, this one's number 2. This is probably one of my most used eyeshadow palettes of the year. This was my instant, like the minute it came, it became my go-to. It kicked my number 1 palette, which was my most used palette up to that point, out of its rotation for every day. And I love that this kind of walks the line of a little bit warm, a little bit cool, very subtle, very glamorous, very, you know, wealthy, elegant woman. It's from Wayne Goss. This is the Pearl eyeshadow palette. Oh, now I know this one tends to be a little bit lighter in tone. I don't know how this would wear on somebody with a richer skin tone. I'll tell you, for someone who's as fair as me, these are absolutely perfect. This is one of my favorite shades in here. My fingers are a mess. It ends up looking really soft, really, really beautiful. The topper shade in here, ooh, she is a miraculous situation, but I love that you can, you know, this kind of taupey gray takes it in a different area. If you want to go a little bit warmer, you can use this brown. If you want it a little softer and pinker or peachier, this is really kind of like my lazy gal eyeshadow. I love the size of the pans. I love the quality of them. I have used this one so much, and I got so many people asking me, like they'd watch a video at like midsummer once this arrived, what are you wearing on your eyes, in the comments. I always list everything I'm wearing in the description box below, but I had so many people asking, what is it you're wearing? It was this. This is beautiful. I love Wayne's formula. I love the size of his palettes and the pans. I love the packaging, but this color, oh, this Pearl palette is just the best. My number 1 palette of the year turns out to be number 1, not just because I love the formulation, not just because I love, you know, how compact it is, but also because it turned into my default. This was the one that I probably used the most this year. When my mind was on autopilot, I need a quick look, I'm out the door in 10 minutes, what can I reach for? Or I want something that's really beautiful, really soft and ethereal, and has a gorgeous shine to it, what do I reach for? I could use it, you know, for like all the makeup days or the days when I wanted like one simple like little wash of color. Loved it so much. It's from M Cosmetics, so this is not new. This is their Magic Hour palette from their Divine Skies collection, but I will tell you, I have used this so much. This shade right here was the one I was using for one shadow looks. Just like, you know, a little bit across the lid, a little deeper in the outer corner and out the door. When I wanted to do two shadows, I would do these two. The minute I wanted to do a peachy look, I would use this peachy metallic and the deeper and the more, it was just perfect. And you would think that with only 6 colors and they're all very similar in tone, that it would be like only so many looks you can get out of here. And I guess there is a limited number of looks, but I really love a one shadow look. I think this is really great for that. Being also that I'm really fair and I love warmer tones, these really spoke to me. I used to use this shade here as a highlight from M. This year they did end up releasing not only a cushion highlight, but also a powder highlight. But for the longest time I would use this on the eyes and the face. I really feel like the formulations are incredible. The mattes basically blend themselves and the metallics are absolutely outstanding. So this is one of the mattes and the 3 metallics in here. It's just so pretty. It's my most reached for palette. The one that every time I see it, it's kind of like I know I can trust you. You never need a primer. You wear well all day. I don't get any sparkle fallout from the metallics. It just is impressive on every single level. It's one of my most used and most counted on eyeshadow palettes, and I love it. Thank you so much for watching today. Now you will notice that some of the palettes in here, if you'd watched my declutter series, have been officially decluttered. They're going back into the declutter box. I pulled them out so I could show them to you. These are all of the palettes that I bought this year. I think I have every single one here. And I feel like you can really tell the sort of eyeshadow where I am based on what I have a lot of. I fell really hardcore for Viseart this year. I have nothing but good things to say about M Cosmetics and Wayne Goss. I really feel like there's been so much here that has been really, really good, and some amazing affordable finds like BH Cosmetics, the ones from Essence. There's just some good stuff out there. Let me know what your favorite eyeshadow palette has been this year. Even if you didn't buy a new one, tell me the one that you have reached for the most. What is your go-to? You're like, trusty, I know every time I reach for this palette, it's gonna be perfect. Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. Have an incredible day, and I will see you again soon.